你听了他讲的话，你会觉得说要赶快买股票，
要买他的股票了。
这生意这么好，对吧？
黄仁勋呢正在里面用餐。那其实今天呢，他参观完台积电18A 的。
Don't be fooled by Jensen Huang looking friendly, eating street food at night markets in Taiwan. He's not eating for you. He's eating for his competitors. He's sending a message. If you think you can fight me for the supply chain, you're not even close. Hello everyone, welcome to Money Daily. This is a channel where we break down the real code behind wealth. Remember to like, save, and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to look at how Jensen Huang uses magic to fight magic. Over the past few years, NVIDIA has basically been playing with cheat codes. Its market cap has passed $4 trillion, and its market share has reached 86%. If you bought NVIDIA stock 5 years ago, you might already be retired. On the surface, NVIDIA looks like the undisputed king of AI chips. But at the end of this road, there's a massive crisis hiding. And Jensen Huang knows it better than anyone. Now it's early 2026, and the AI chip market has clearly split into two parts. The first part is training, basically training AI models. In training, NVIDIA's market share is as high as 86%. That's monopoly-level dominance. The second part of the market is inference. What is inference? Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, it searches, summarizes, and then gives you an answer. Every step in between is inference. Over the past few years, everyone was obsessed with training. The more GPUs you used, the better the model became, and NVIDIA made a fortune. But by 2030, about 75% of AI computing demand will come from inference. And here's the problem. NVIDIA's GPUs are extremely powerful, but using them for inference is like driving a Ferrari to deliver Uber Eats. In other words, running inference on NVIDIA GPUs loses money. And of course, Jensen Huang's biggest customers know this too. They need to make money as well. So Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are all building their own custom chips, ASICs. Yes, NVIDIA's customers are turning into its competitors one by one. If the future market is inference, and ASICs are cheaper than GPUs, then by 2027, NVIDIA's market share will be squeezed down to 45%. And the bigger the market gets, the smaller NVIDIA's share becomes. By 2030, NVIDIA's market share would drop to just 22.5%. From this chart, you can see that Jensen Huang isn't sitting still. He keeps talking about AI factories, which are essentially a massive bundle sale strategy. NVIDIA is moving from selling chips to selling racks to selling entire data centers in one shot. Jensen Huang also copied Apple's old playbook and prepaid $45 billion, locking up most of SK Hynix and Micron's HBM production capacity for 2026. But even so, when new orders today still take 2 years to deliver, Jensen Huang is more anxious than anyone. And then, this major event happened. In December 2025, just as everyone was getting ready for Christmas, Jensen Huang suddenly announced a $20 billion acquisition of the technology and talent from AI chip company Groq. Don't rush. We'll break down exactly why this deal is worth $20 billion. Let's start with the key figure behind this deal, Jonathan Ross. Unlike many startup founders who come from a pure programming background, Ross is hardcore math. He graduated from the top-ranked applied mathematics institution in the US, the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences at New York University. In 2013, while pursuing his PhD, Ross was recruited by Google and joined the New York office, working on the most fundamental layers of software infrastructure. One day at lunch, Ross overheard the voice search team complaining that even Google's own computing resources couldn't keep up with their workload. Ross suggested that a systolic array architecture could solve the problem. That idea quickly gained strong backing from his boss, Jeff Dean. Google immediately brought in legendary chip architect Norman Juppy to lead the effort. In just 15 months, they completed the design, manufacturing, and deployment of the first-generation TPU. If you've been following this channel, you already know that it was this TPU that helped AlphaGo defeat Lee Sedol in 2016. But despite TPU's massive success inside Google, Ross believed that big companies move too slowly when it comes to hardware iteration. More importantly, he believed TPU's extreme efficiency was something the entire world would need, but Google had no intention of offering it to external customers. So he decided to leave. Together with another Google engineer, Douglas Whiteman, he founded Groq. Over the next year and a half, they also recruited 8 more engineers from Google's original TPU team to join them in building chips. Because of this, Groq became known in the industry as the true spiritual successor to TPU. And that's exactly why Jensen Huang was willing to pay $20 billion. If TPU poses a threat to me, then I'll use TPU's bloodline to defeat you. For many years, Groq stayed extremely low profile and was often seen as a minor player in the industry. But when ChatGPT exploded onto the global stage in 2023, Groq stood out as one of the very few companies in the world, just the only one, that could run inference more than 10 times faster than GPUs. In real-world tests, inference workloads that take GPUs 2 minutes can be completed by Groq's LPU in just 6 seconds. Even more importantly, the LPU completely avoids the supply chain bottlenecks of TSMC's CoWoS advanced packaging and HBM memory shortages. Its architecture doesn't rely on either of these scarce resources, which means customers can place an order and receive delivery within 6 months. Now you understand why Jensen Huang absolutely had to secure this deal. This isn't just an acquisition, it's NVIDIA's protective shield in the inference market. And to avoid triggering antitrust scrutiny, Jensen Huang even chose a very special transaction structure to make it happen. 5 years ago, NVIDIA tried to acquire ARM. What followed was back-to-back regulatory reviews from the US, the UK, and the EU. The process dragged on for 2 years, and in the end, the deal collapsed. Given NVIDIA's current market position, if Jensen Huang were to announce a direct acquisition today, regulators would absolutely come knocking again. So this time, Jensen Huang changed tactics. NVIDIA did not buy Groq as a company. Instead, it acquired non-exclusive technology licenses and the core team, including CEO Jonathan Ross, President Sunny Madra, and a group of key senior executives, all of whom moved over to NVIDIA. As for Groq itself, the company continues operating under a new CEO, at least on the surface. Because of this structure, the entire deal went from announcement to completion in just a few days. That's why Jensen Huang can confidently say, I didn't acquire any company. Now let's look at what this $20 billion move does to the industry. The power map gets reshuffled instantly. First, OpenAI. For NVIDIA's customers, this is a mixed bag, but overall, it's positive. Training runs on GPUs, inference runs on LPUs, and both are now handled within NVIDIA's ecosystem. The LPU architecture is far more energy efficient, which means faster inference and lower costs in the long run. But here's the scary part. Jensen Huang now controls both ends, training and inference. For OpenAI, escaping the NVIDIA ecosystem just became even harder. The so-called NVIDIA tax will only get more expensive. Next, AMD. Lisa Su's MI300 series was positioned squarely at the inference market. Now NVIDIA has directly absorbed the strongest technology and talent in the ASIC space. Jensen Huang has effectively ripped away AMD's best inference value crown. The competitive gap between Lisa Su and her distant cousin just widened even further. Finally, Google. Google's TPU and Groq's LPU come from the same lineage, but the LPU was redesigned specifically for inference and pushed much further. It's several times faster than TPU. Jensen Huang's message to Google is simple. You have it. I have it too. And mine is faster.
You know, the phrase 30 days from going out of business, I've used for 33 years. Because,
you still feel that?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Every morning.
But you guys are one of the biggest companies on planet Earth.
But the feeling doesn't change.
Wow.
Because he always believes he's standing on the edge of a cliff. He's the only one who would close a deal this critical on Christmas Eve, when everyone else is on vacation. That's the kind of person who's almost impossible to beat. Everything you've just heard is compiled word for word from industry research reports and Jensen Huang's media interviews, analyzed and distilled by real people. If you enjoy this kind of data-driven breakdown of how top billionaires think and operate, remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next time. This
pretty soon,
is Money Daily.
I met a lawyer, went to a law firm called Cooley Godward, and they helped us incorporate the company. The amount of money that he says, we need some money from you so that we could price the shares and also to incorporate the company. So he says, how much money do you have in your pocket? I said, $200. So he says, okay, give me $200. I gave him $200. And for $200, I bought 15%, I think it was 20% of NVIDIA. So it was a good deal.